Hi everyone, welcome to Tales of Dread. The terrifying account that we will hear is about a park ranger who was standing watch atop the fire tower when he came face to face with something that was absolutely awful, because it was unnatural. Keep an eye out. You are going to not want to pass up this opportunity. If this is your first time visiting the channel, we ask that you kindly consider subscribing, clicking on the bell, giving the video a big thumbs up, and recommending it to a friend. Now let's get it into the story section. Being in charge of the fire lookout is not necessarily a challenging job, but there is a certain level of pressure that comes along with it. Fires are difficult to put out, and to tell you the truth, by the time I've reported one, I already feel like I've accomplished very little. This idea came to me while the most recent storm cell was moving in, and I was pulling up a chair to watch. Lightning is the leading cause of fires in our area, so whenever I see a bolt of lightning, I look to see whether it starts a fire. I even have a short checklist with items that need to be reported back on. A short checklist is the one activity that makes me feel the most incompetent. While the situation rages out of control someplace below me, I am sitting comfortably in my tiny watch house and reporting on the color of the smoke. Do we have white smoke, or do we have gray smoke? Being protected by the clouds makes the presence of the black smoke irrelevant to me. I rolled my eyes and then sat back down to continue watching the storm as it raged on outside my windows while feeling as bored as I did inside. I kept staring at what was going on. I will freely acknowledge that it's possible I had become complacent. Indeed, this location is rather remote. However, one may summon a helicopter with a phone call. In the event that I felt the need to escape, I knew I could find solace in being by myself in this forest, surrounded by clouds and trees. It did not occur to me that maybe I did not have enough time since I failed to take into account the fact that it would take the helicopter some time to come to me, and it also did not occur to me that perhaps I was running out of time. The sound of someone knocking on my door could hardly be made out over the roaring of the wind outside. It is impossible for me to overstate how little companionship you receive while you work as a fire lookout. There are things like food drops, but nobody, and I repeat nobody, will be knocking on your door to offer assistance. It is quite difficult to trek up here, and there is no sign of human habitation elsewhere in the immediate area. It is very improbable that somebody will really be knocking on my door at this very moment. I glanced at the door as I was looking out the window, and it seemed as if I was aware that I had selected that particular time to look. There was another knock on the door. The lightning picked that moment to hit considerably closer, and the brightness that resulted illuminated my chamber. Whoever was standing outside my door at the time, regardless of whether they were intended to be there or not, must be terrified out of their wits. So I went ahead and opened the door. In retrospect, I am well aware that it was an absolutely dumb thing to do, but at this time, I still had some semblance of a human heart. I opened the door to see a little finger standing there, covered in a dark rain slicker. As I was still taken aback by its appearance, I did not give a greeting, and it did not offer one either. The thing in question has just entered the room without uttering a sound. "Hey dude, are you okay?" I couldn't help myself and had to ask, "How the heck did you ever get up here?" It retorted that there is a fire in the building. It was facing me with its back. "There's a big one out there. I came to give you a warning." I turned my head to look out the window, and noticed the identical cloud of smoke that I had described earlier in my report. Before making the call, we waited until the storm cell had moved on as is customary operating practice. That's right, I did see that one. "Are you okay? Have you found yourself unable to escape it?" I inquired, apprehensive that he had not yet revealed his appearance to me. "What plans do you have to address this matter? Are there people living in that area?" The voice that replied me was more angry. Isn't this the reason you came in the first place? Isn't this why you've come all the way out here today? It is finished. In a sense, he was correct. What exactly was the purpose of producing reports and keeping a track of the location and length of time? Even if there was anything natural that I could do about it, it was pointless. Sincerity demands that you accompany me. He murmured that we are in need of assistance, and you have come to assist us. It was as if I had just stepped into the first scene of my own superhero movie. I would dash into the forest, despite the howling winds that were all around me, and I would lead these hapless hikers to safety. They would make up stories about me and publish them. There might probably even be children who were named after me. I wouldn't just be a bystander watching. I'd be a savior. The lightning struck again, illuminating the room completely. I choked and accidentally dropped the hiking boots in the process. I had just grabbed. When I was thinking about how heroic I was, the person had turned around to look at me at some point. The black slicker had covered most of its body, but the lightning had lighted up its deformed face, causing burnt portions of its face to fall like ash at its feet and apparently vanish. What the hell? Dude? I shouted, springing back. Immediately, I had a feeling of embarrassment. They taught us on burn victims, and I pretended to be a citizen who had never seen a burn victim before despite the fact that we had been trained on burn victims. I instantly rectified the situation by stating that I was on the phone with someone. Don't worry about it, everything will be okay. It growled at me as it approached me and moved closer. It won't work out all right. It let forth a snarl. You have no choice but to accompany me. You will need to provide a hand. I have no idea why my training began to take effect at this particular time, but all of a sudden the procedures that they had repeatedly driven into my head began to take effect simultaneously. When I was staring at the extent of his wounds, the thought came to me how particularly idiotic it would be to rush into the burning force with someone who was gravely hurt while I was seeing the severity of his burns. After what seemed like hours but was really just seconds, he had escaped the building alive, which was a miracle in and of itself. The receptionist at my workplace answered the call. I have someone with them out here, I said while holding my breath. You are in contact with another person, the dispatcher remarked while expressing disbelief. He has, in fact, been singed. It's not good. He claims that there is more to discover farther down the mountain. We need assistance. Listen to me. The dispatcher instructed him to lower his voice. Now, under no circumstances should you leave. Do not speak to him. Avoid making eye contact with him and act as if he is not there. Do you comprehend me? I what? It is not a male person. The door had been locked, and I was alone myself inside. I ran out the door in a hurry to see if I could find him and bring him back. There's no way he could have made it very far with those injuries. I had a feeling that it would be practically hard to see anything through the storm, but just as I was about to give up hope, I saw his movement near the forest line. Only stood there with 5 fingers that were slowly burning. They were surrounded by a cloud of white smoke, yet they did not move an inch as their fingers, hands, limbs, legs, and everything else turned to ash. They had sent a chopper to come to my location the next day, and according to what they told me, I was still wailing when they arrived. To tell you the truth, my office had indicated that it wasn't anything personal, but they had determined that I was not a good match for the position, and they let me go with a very large severance payout. The fact that I was fired didn't bother me all that much. Nobody had cared to explain anything to me about what had taken place up on that mountain, and I was left in the dark about it. And to tell you the truth, I'm not even sure whether I wanted to find out. Because of this, I'm a little taken aback by the fact that I felt the want to inquire of them, why. At the conclusion of our conversation about my alleged retirement, the gentleman in front of me gave a little shake of the head while also shuffling a few pieces of paper. We need individuals who will not respond to the beckoning of the mountain. He volunteered to take me home each week and stood to see me leave. I'm going to assume that the narrative we heard tonight was entertaining for you guys. It gives me the creeps just thinking about it. Who knows if it is some sort of apparition ghost, the spirit of someone who perished in the fire in the past, or some kind of force demon that is attempting to gather souls. Leave a comment below telling me what you believe it was, and if you were watching anything when you were out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, let me know. Do you think it's possible? Please ensure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, that you share me with your friends, and that you spread me around like butter. Yeah. I hope you enjoy your evening and continue to be scary.